How you doing, sir?
Oh, just fine. And how are you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. So today I want to talk about blind faith. Is faith really blind?
No, not. You're faithful to something, and you don't like it, but you're still faithful to it because you keep talking about it, remembering it, going it over and over in your mind. Isn't that what they're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So faith, in essence, is belief in something.
Well, yeah, you believe in a lot of things, but why don't you sit down and kind of sort them out so you can get rid of what's not serving you? Wouldn't that be wise to do something like that?
It would. So why is it? That's a great question that many people won't take the time to even examine their own beliefs. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, they invest all kinds of time in all sorts of things, but not in themselves. They completely ignore themselves. It's just like habit. All they're doing is being habitual, and they call it living because they've gotten used to it. You have so much more offered to you, but you have to claim it. That's all there is to it. You have to claim it. If you don't, then you don't get it. Isn't that right?
It is correct. And it's, the thing is, the claim, many people don't realize that when they have faith or when they believe in something, they're making a claim upon that thing that they believe in. Would you agree?
That's right. Good, bad, or indifferent, you're making a claim. And you know better than I know about you, what kind of claim are you making? Because you're always making a case for or against something. All the time. And actually, that is called in Scripture praying ceaselessly. That's it, isn't it?
It is. It is. So we're always giving our faith, our belief into something. The question is, as you often say, what?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's what? Because you see, you're on all the time. If you're praying ceaselessly, you're on all the time. But thinking about what? That's all you have to ask yourself, that question. What am I thinking about? And if you'll ask that question pretty continuously, you'll always know where you're going because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it makes me think about what Neville said. He says, my faith is not going to give something reality, but it's my loyalty to the unseen reality that will give it reality. Would you agree?
That's it. As within, so without. Says it very plainly, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
But you see, that's the whole point. That's what we're trying to impress people with, is the very simplicity of it. Oh, you can take the long route, or you can take the short route. And the short route is you turn to me, and I'll turn to you. God invited you. That's the short route. Everybody's looking for a short route. Well, that's it. You turn to me, I'll turn to you, God says. That would be the way to go if you're in a hurry, wouldn't it?
It would be the shorter route.
You can take all the studies, and believe me, they're very interesting. As a matter of fact, I found them not only interesting, but very poetic. And always right on. But, you see, it wasn't meant to be secular history. It was meant to be divine history. Because everything that was happening then is still happening now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, then the methods are always the same. It's always the same. That's what reality is. It's always the same. But we're in a virtual reality, which is changing constantly because everybody's changing their mind about something, and that changes everything because the world on without, that's second-hand land. That was only new as an idea in someone's mind, and then subconscious mind created it. And what you're doing is you're creatively choosing. But creating what? Isn't that the question?
It is. It is. And you stated that the world without is only secondhand or the virtual reality, but many people believe that that's what's solid. That's the ground that we stand on, but it's truly the unseen that's more tangible. Would you agree?
Yes. Actually, it's all unimagined until it's imagined, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what you get to choose from. Whatsoever. If you can't do better than what you're doing, then you're not really waking up. And that's what this is about. It's about waking up to what you already know, and you already have. Well, you already got all that you need nearer than hands and feet. Actually, even nearer than your DNA. But you have to claim what it is you want and be it. That's where you start. You're being it in mind, in imagination. Everything is created by the imagination. What are you imagining? That's what you're going to be experiencing. So if you don't imagine differently, then it's just same old right down the line, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I want to go back to, you stated, be it. You know, and for many people, that's the challenge. Moving from where they are to where it is that they want to be and who it is that they want to become.
Yeah, but that's because they want to do it in one jump. See, that's the problem. They want to do it in one jump. Or they're discouraged, right?
Absolutely.
See, that's it. You have to go through the process. See, and there is a process. And you have to take it personally, first person. You're given to know if you really want to know, because you already know. All you have to do is be aware of it. But to be aware of it, you have to think about it, and you have to know about it to think about it. So get yourself knowledgeable about what will help you be better at everything, and you will be. But you have to have something to start with. And you start with just considering that I am that, my goal, my dream, and you dream it. You're told to dream the dream. How would you dream it unless you would imagine it? And that's what imagination is. It is the dream made real. And it doesn't matter what it is, because it isn't reality. It's a virtual reality. The only reality out here is just us. That's it. The rest of it is all out of mind, out of man's mind. Whatever they imagine. And your world is yourself pushed out. And that's what you're experiencing. So you always have a chance to choose it, because you're told, choose this day.
As you were speaking about dreaming, and I thought to myself, some of the greatest people started off with a vision or a dream. Anybody that has started off at any level in life, most people didn't start off with a silver spoon, but they all started off with a vision or a dream. Would you agree?
That's it. Sure. Just watch a child. See, if nobody's bugging them, they're happy. They're discovering themselves. But somewhere along the line, you got distracted from discovering yourself, and all you discovered was the ongoing drama. And then you became conditioned to it, and now you don't know how to break the conditioning. And all it takes is you focusing. If you'll focus on change, you'll get it. But you have to stay focused on it, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And you know what? That's sometimes the rub, as some people say, staying focused. Because many people know what they want. I was speaking with a young lady recently, and she's in an advanced course right now. She's moving towards her RN. She's a registered nurse. And she was getting frustrated because she was feeling a lot of anxiety. And I told her, live it from the end. Go to the end and see yourself as already being the nurse, the person that you want to be. And I said, that's going to cause much of your anxiety to leave. Would you agree?
Yes, that's it. In other words, if you're serious about first-person knowledge, you'll get it. If you're not, then it's a whole flurry of things going on, and most people are really confused and really don't know what living is. But it's not suffering, I can tell you. God did not give man the spirit of sickness. God did not give man the spirit of fear. We learn these. That's because you were not paying attention to what you already know, but you have to feel after it. Better than the best. Just start there. Actually, it's all yours anyway, but you got to start out slow because mind takes time to develop different mindsets, and that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with your own mindsets, and most of them were conditioned in by actually hearsay, just plain hearsay, and may not be true at all, but that's for you to decide, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I love that you said, you have to get to the place where you move into a state of first-person experience, know-how, and move from that second-hand hearsay, because as long as we're operating from a place of hearsay, we can only base our information off of someone else's say, and we'll never fully understand until it becomes first-hand experience. Would you agree?
Yes. You're told not to judge by appearances. See, and that's what most people are doing. They're judging by the appearance outside of them instead of inside of them, because that's imagination and that's creative. And you're creative and you're choosing better and better with imagination. So what do you need to do? You need to see what you're imagining, and you'll see what you're experiencing, because the two are the same. As within, so without. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. And you said you have to be mindful of what you're imagining. And I want to give you a quick story. A young man told it in the Facebook group. He's a golfer. And his thing was he wanted to have this great golf game. So that was his intention. But he said deep down inside, he saw himself losing the matches that he was to be a part of. And so, of course, the thing that overrode his desire to win is his imagination or his visualization of losing, and that's what happened in the end. He lost the matches. And I told him that was great, because now he knows how to win by changing his thoughts and changing his world. Would you agree?
That's it. That's it. And when you tell them how to do it simply, they just kind of shrug their shoulders, even though that's what they claim they really want to know, how to do it simply. But when you tell them, they always analyzing them. But I know I did that. I did in the beginning. I did that. Good ideas, and they'd be dust by the time I finished analyzing them. Not that I was educated to analyze anything, but we do that. We analyze things because we make things up in our head that satisfy us what we're doing, because you can always find a reason to do what you're doing if you want to do it, and that's all you have to do with having better. You have to find a reason to want it, to be it, to do it, and then stick with it, because if you'll do so, you'll have so. And I'm not telling you I said that. That was God said that, because remember, the whole story is as you think, you are, you be, you do, you have. That's your story, and that is your story, first person. So it's always up to you. I will do this, I will not do this. It's always that simple, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I like that you said people need to find a reason to move into that new state. And what I find is, for most of us, our reason isn't big enough. Would you agree?
Yeah, or it's a negative.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
See, that you gotta keep track of what you're doing, because if you don't, you can mouth off and wind up in trouble, can't you?
Absolutely, and we often do.
Yeah, right. That's it. You know, and then you got to come to your own rescue. But you see, look, you know what you're thinking about. Are you approving of what you're thinking about? Not by those around you who will. You can always find someone who's going to agree with you if you want to make an excuse for something. But why? You're given, choose this day, and you're told that you receive not because you ask not. And if you're not asking, that seems, you can cure that real quick. But you have to believe what you're asking. And the one who's receiving it must feel you really mean it. You can't, it's not a foolie. You can't get away with that. You can't pretend. And that's what most of the world is doing, is pretending. I mean, I'd say that there's 90% of the people in the churches, they're all pretending. They are. If they weren't, they wouldn't need the church, because they are the church. They are the temple of the living God. Right here, right now, this is so. Believe it. It is so. You say?
Absolutely. You know, and the thing is, even with the 90%, you were being generous, and I appreciate you being generous and leaving the other 10% out of that. But that's what most of us have been taught to do, you know, to, as some would say, fake it till you make it, you know, or act like this is the thing that's going to be your salvation, even though you know that you don't feel like you're experiencing the salvation of the thing that you want to manifest. You still ride that out your whole life, even though you know it's not working. Would you agree?
That's it. Look, nothing changes until the individual changes. It's that simple. There's no getting around it. Well, as you think you are. If I'm telling you that everything you do in this world is as you think you are, wouldn't that raise your interest enough to see that you've heard something worthy of your attention? Wouldn't you say?
I would.
Listen to what's being said. Not because we're saying it because it is worthy of your attention, because we found it worthy of our attention. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. And you said something. You said nothing changes until the individual changes. And it's so true. You know, I was looking at this particular job offer years ago, and all outward appearance, I shouldn't have got this particular job. But the funny thing is, when I started pursuing the job and started seeing the job as already a reality, it's when the opportunity presented itself in a really unnatural way. I was at a job interview. Many companies were at this particular job interview, and the job that I was pursuing, that company was also there, and I had made mention of a person that I had been talking to over the phone, and that was my inlet to this job. So the whole point is, but I had determined, I had changed my mind and said this opportunity was for me, and it became so. Would you agree?
I heard you. I heard what you said, and you said it, and that's it. You made the day. You chose the day, and it came out because you felt it in yourself that it was already so, right?
Absolutely.
That's all anyone has to do, isn't it?
Yes.
And you don't have to be called religious or anything else to do it, right?
Absolutely.
So what's holding you back? See, that's it. Why are you denying yourself all the wonders that are offered you to be still and know that I'm God. With you always, will never leave you. Omnipresence. I ask you sincerely, what more do you need to know to test what you heard? Right?
Absolutely.
It's that simple. Everybody says, can you make it simple? It was made simple to me, so I can make it simple to you. If they hadn't made it simple to me, then it wouldn't have been simple to you. So that's the service we're giving here. We're making it simple because that's what people, I like the guy who spent 13 years in a cave and came out and said it's all attitude. Wow. That should have really shook the world. But I guess it just went right over, like most of it does, right?
It did. It did. And I love that you said the simplicity of it, because it's true. Jesus was talking to the students of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and he says, you're going to make these guys twice the viper, twice the snake that you are, because, of course, what they wanted to do was make it complicated, the message, so that it did go over the people's head, and so that you believe that only a select few people had this knowledge. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that anyone, whosoever, whatsoever, you can have. Would you agree?
Absolutely. There's only God, and he claims to be all things to all. All things to, and the body is a thing. He's all things to all. If you can settle that in your mind for a time, your whole world will look different. And when you see things different, you're impressed different. And as you're impressed, you express. So it's always up to you to choose what you're thinking about, or at least examine it and approve it or disapprove it. And if you disapprove it, drop it and move forward. It's all very simple, but you have to have the faith that what you're doing, what you're believing, are the same thing. In mind, in imagination, in the theater of mind, you're doing something all the time. All we're telling you is, choose it. Isn't that it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you keep it simple and you say choose it. So we can choose to either have a great golf game or a poor golf game. We can choose to be a registered nurse or choose to be a doctor, a lawyer, or work in a restaurant, fast food, whatever. The choice is ours. Would you agree?
People say that they don't have a choice. And God said, you have a choice. So, you see, that's being in the world if you believe the world. You're to be in the world, but not to be of the world. Because everybody gets downtrodden. Everybody. There's always somebody higher doing on you. What are you doing on you? See, that's all you need to be concerned. I know people tell me, well, I heard what you're saying, and it always sounds like me stuff. It is me stuff. If you can't help yourself, how can you help somebody else? If you can't understand it, how can somebody else understand it? See, it's always up to you. I will do this thing, I will not do this thing. And it's as simple as that. And if you keep it that decision that simple, you're told, you're given. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be so. And that everybody has that ability to decree a thing. Say that's it. Do it.
The thing is, beyond the ability, we're all decreeing. The question is, it goes back to what we said earlier, what is it that you're choosing? What is it that you're saying to yourself? What is it that you are decreeing? How many people have been told as kids, you'll never amount to anything, and that's been their life story because they brought someone else's story for them. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I agree from experience. You know, sometimes when you're put down, it stirs you. And it stirs you in one or two ways, either to get even with them or to rise above it. But you always have a choice. See, that's what you really want to focus on. God gave you a choice. You get to choose. He's not going to interfere with you. He's not going to interrupt you. Whatever you're choosing, subconscious mind is contracted to build your world according to as you think you are. So, God says, hey, I suffer with you, but you behold me not. So he's right there with you. Right there, right now, he's with you. This is the day. He's with you now. But it's always this day. And he's always with you. And he knows what you have need of even before you ask. You're told that you receive not because you ask not. And if you're not receiving it, well, then you haven't asked. And the how you ask is important. And I think we've explained that to him enough, don't you?
I do, but you can touch on it again because there may be somebody listening for the first time that may not understand fully how to ask.
Right, yes, that's right. There's someone who just came in. That's it. Look, you're always thinking ahead of your evidence. If you'll claim what you've made of yourself, then you use the power to make of yourself. So now you know you can change your mind and change your world. And that's the whole message. Everybody wants a different, but they won't take the time to change their mind for the different. And it's right with you, but you have to claim it. And people say, well, I claim it, and it never happens. Yeah, see, that's it. You just denounced it right there, didn't they?
They did. And even in saying that, they made a claim.
That's right. They overrode what they just said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether they understand it or not. And in their being right about being wrong, they're right.
That's right. That's right. Because you can say, but God made me do it.
Oh, we do it. Flip Wilson used to say, the devil made me do it.
Yeah. And the thing of it is that neither of them make you do it. You have to accept it. That's it. You have to accept it. You're making your world according to as you think you are. And you have to accept it, because if you don't accept it, you don't realize it's you doing it. And when you don't realize it's you doing it, you do the wrong thing generally. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, of course, we at that time believed that outside forces are in control of us. And sometimes that outside force that we think is solely in control of us is God. And God's given us choose this day.
That's it. He's gave you choose this day, and you have chosen it. Like he said, they themselves are makers of themselves. That's it, isn't it?
It is it.
I mean, that's what you're doing. You're making yourself. And you blaming everybody else is denying yourself using the power. And remember, that's the power you're using because there is only one. And when he gave you choose this day, he gave you his power to make your world as you see it, as you dress it. And you're told to dress your world. And you've done so. Are you satisfied with it? If not, throw out the decorator and get a new one. I know it sounds easy. And actually it really is. everything is created by the imagination.